Right. So a lot of people were um, supportive of the push for $2,000 direct payments to individual Americans. But the fact of the matter is that pushing for $2,000 caused, quite frankly, some unfortunate suffering, more suffering than people are already facing at this time dealing with COVID-19, right? You have the emotional suffering, the financial suffering, the physical suffering. We've got all that suffering, and some people thought, namely the president, that, hey, pushing for this $2,000, is good for me politically. It's going to stick it to Mitch. It's going to make me look favorable potentially for a 2024 run. Whatever the deal might be, point of the matter is that pushing for that $2,000 caused suffering. Um, Look, this is something that I've heard mentioned several times over the last few days, and it is totally true. And this is the fact that the president should have been more vocal about um, what he wanted in this bill. Now, in all fairness, we don't know what he was telling Steve Mnuchin, right? All we know is what we were hearing, what we were seeing, which we all know is limited. They don't negotiate in the public square, right? I mean, we can't be that crazy. We can't be that insane to think that we are truly seeing the totality of negotiations out in the public square. So there was a good bit, a majority of what was being negotiated, we will never probably even know, right, as Americans. But what we do know, the bit of information that we do have about Steve Mnuchin and what he was pushing for, quite honestly, if you honestly look back at these last few months and you look at Steve Mnuchin, I can guarantee you that you probably know more about what he was against than what he was actually for, right? And given the fact that he was the key negotiator for President Trump, COVID in chief in his administration, it's only logical to assume, right? That's all we can do, that he was pushing more against an agenda rather than actually pushing for or in support of an agenda, which could have or should have included the $2,000 that he now all of a sudden wanted to push for. He should have been doing that this entire time. There was a Senator Wyden, who issued a statement, and I'm going to read it directly. It says, Donald Trump's tantrum has resulted in a lapse in unemployment benefits and cost millions of jobless workers a week's worth of income. On top of that, there could be a weeks long delay in getting benefits back up and running. For families wondering how they will pay January rent or buy groceries, a weeks long delay could have serious consequences. While it's a huge relief that the bill is signed, President Trump's tantrum has created unnecessary hardship and stress for millions of families. End quote. So again, that came from Senator Wyden. It was a statement that was released. And I'm going to say this in response to what Senator Wyden put out. Most definitely, people who are receiving jobless benefits will feel stressed over the next few weeks, right? Because the president did not sign the bill on Saturday. Saturday was a key day if you had been paying attention at all to what I've been saying. Saturday was the day that unemployment benefits, the PEUC and PUA benefits essentially ended if there was no extension of the relief bill. So because he didn't take care of that on Saturday, Americans who are receiving PUA, which was Pandemic Unemployment Assistance, or PEUC, which is Pandemic Emergency Unemployment Compensation, they, over the next few weeks, they're not going to receive unemployment payments. And it's going to be about 1 to 2 weeks, 1 week if they really can get this up and going, but most likely it's going to be somewhere around 2 weeks that these people won't receive payments. And 2 weeks might not sound bad, but when you think about it, that's half of a month. Half of a month that, yes, their benefits were measly compared to what they had when they were working or conducting their business, before, but that's still half a month that they don't have income. That's insane, right? And again, certain states are going to, they're going to move in a more expeditious fashion to get their unemployment kind of restarted. Some states move very, very expeditiously. On the other hand, some states, who knows, what if it takes some states a month to get this back up and going? What the heck are people going to do? What the heck are these people going to do? Now, look, absolutely, payments should have been more over the last few episodes. I don't think it's been, I know at least the last one. Everything's kind of blurred together, and we've been away and been on a vacation, so I don't know what I've been talking about on here. But, uh, you know, I am in support of $2,000 payments. The $600 payment it's not enough. We've heard from various politicians. Heck, look at your own situation. Will $600 cover your rent? Will it cover a mortgage payment? It probably will cover your car payment, depending on the type of car that you have, right? Some of us out here, you might have a $800-900, depending again, what kind of car do you have, right? And you can't say, oh, well, someone who has this type of car, they're not financially impacted. Look at these food banks. Look at these food lines. You're seeing Mercedes, people who are driving a Mercedes coming trying to get food. They never thought that they would be in that situation. So yes, payments should be more. Again, not even, we won't even talk about car, because some people might say, well, they shouldn't have the car to begin with, and da, 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 da. But okay, everybody needs a home. Literally in no state in the United States will $600 cover uh the average rent payment for a month. 600. I mean, I can think back years ago, when I, was younger, was renting a room in a house, and what I think my part was like, we had a 6-bedroom house, and I think we all paid like $550. Those of us who didn't have the master bedroom, like, so if this was back in the day, I would have had $50 left over. I mean, so maybe in that situation, people who are renting rooms might, but again, that was years and years and years ago. I don't know if people were able to, if they'd be able to even, pay their rent renting a room in somebody's house. Suffering is imminent, and it's unfortunate. Yes, 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 yes. President Trump should have been fighting for $2,000, but the problem is not that he did it. The problem was that he's just doing it now. Please, somebody, now, in all fairness, I will be fair here and say that, yes, before the election, COVID in chief, President Trump, said that he did want something. He wanted something bigger than the Democrats, right? Again, I'm being fair. That's what he said. But we don't know, was he just saying it at the time? Because if I can recall, he never said it was $2,000. Why didn't he say this earlier? It is not the problem that he did it. Some people who are politically opposed to him and who will do everything to discredit the man, and some might say rightly so, will never admit that he should have been going for the $2,000. But that's not the problem. The problem is not that he did it. The problem was that he is just now doing it. The way that he went about, the way that COVID in chief went about pushing for this $2,000 is what caused suffering. He's for months and months and months. Some might say he'd been absent. Some might say, well, he wasn't really absent because he had a surrogate who was negotiating on his behalf in the form of Steve Mnuchin. But again, when we consider everything we know about Steve Mnuchin, if you're honest, you will say we know that he pretty much always talked about what he was against, but never really what he was for. So we don't know in the public square, if this whole time he'd been going for $2,000, chances are he wasn't, you know, if think about it like this, if he is openly advertising the fact that he wants $2,000 now, if it would have been advantageous to him pre-election, and we have no record of him pushing for $2,000 then, again, when it would have been politically advantageous, it is not rational to assume that he was for it back then. Now, you could have the conversation about why he's pushing for the $2,000 now. Was he doing it because he really cares about the people? Is he doing it because he wants to stick it to Mitch? Is he doing it because he wants to? I don't give a diddly squat of cahoots why the heck he is doing it. Like, at this point, that conversation it means nothing, because he's out the door anyways. And if he's doing this to impact 2024, look, politics, 2024 is a long time away. I don't care if he tomorrow declares his candidacy for 2024. Like, do you know how much stuff could happen between now and 2024? Not just with him personally, but with the party he is now the Trump master of. We don't even know, when you consider, especially if you throw the monkey wrench of them losing, the Republicans losing the 2 seats in Georgia, and the Senate no longer having its power wielded in the hands of Turtle McConnell. Who knows what the Republican Party will be like in 4 years? Like who the heck knows, right? So again, I don't care if he's doing this for 20, like, I don't care. Again, don't give a diddly squat. What I do care about is the fact that people are suffering because the way the way COVID in chief, our current president, unfortunately, went about trying to do this push for whatever reason for $2,000, it caused people unnecessary suffering. That was not presidential. Are we really surprised, though? Can we look at the last 4 years and say that what we have seen has been presidential? His lack of being presidential has caused Americans to needlessly suffer. As a result, again, his non-presidentialism, let that be a word. If it's not, I'm coining it now. His lack of being presidential has caused Americans to needlessly suffer. If anybody is not ready for 2020 to be over and for us to get to January 20th, like, I don't care how you feel about Joe Biden. We are not dealing with a president right now. Like, what? A president deliberately making Americans suffer. That is not presidential. That's freaking insane.